Welcome back to the channel.
Today we are adventuring into the Walt Disney Family Museum.
Yeah, so if you like this kind of content, make sure to subscribe.
So come get lost with us.
We've made it to the Walt Disney Family Museum. It's in like this block of other residences.
This is the bus yesterday was over in this very neighborhood. I want to say like 2 streets over that way.
Yep.
So I think from that bus stop you probably could walk over here because it's pretty fairly level down here by the beach. It's not as like crazy hills.
Yeah. They have this picture. It's apparently Smoke Tree Ranch, and this is a scene near Walt's home in Palm Springs. That's pretty neat. Look at all these awards that they won. I like the Mickey on the turtle. There's the Emmy. And that one's for Best Producer Film Series, Disneyland 1955. Check out the Academy Award for the Seven Dwarfs. It's pretty neat. Look at these. The amount of awards that are here is expansive. Here's some stuff from the Disneyland apartment. In case you didn't know, at Disneyland over the firehouse, there was an apartment made for Walt Disney to stay. And there's a picture of him in it on the phone. Pretty cool. It's interesting they have the key to the city of San Francisco. Mr. and Mrs. Walt Disney.
It's kind of crazy how they chose Anaheim because Anaheim is like 8 hours away from here. It's maybe 6, but like that's really far away from San Francisco.
It's probably cheap land. Elias is Disney's fiddle. He was a fiddler man, y'all. Elias Disney fiddled. The first room you come into, it's kind of like his historical pieces about his family and stuff. So this is the ambulance that Walt drove for the Red Cross. Fascinating. When you think about Walt, these are trinkets he collected during his time with the Red Cross. Maybe this is where they got the idea for the Disney pens. This is a need to like collect coins and stuff. We got a wall of some of his early drawings and some of his stuff where he worked for papers. You can kind of see how his drawings developed too through the years. The earlier ones a little rougher. You see these later ones are a little bit more formed. Pieces from his first animation studio, Laugh-O-Grams Films Inc. There's his business card.
And ultimately Laugh-O-Grams went out of business and filed bankruptcy, and it was at that point that Walt decided to head to Hollywood. So
Yeah, imagine if his loan was a student loan and he could never declare bankruptcy on it. What a different story we'd have with Walt Disney.
yeah, who knows what future visionary would keep him back.
Wow. So Naza just said the motion picture camera costs $300. Look at the old school. They bring in like a box so you can carry it and so it can protect itself, obviously, as you're carrying it.
It's the tripod thing that the lamp is on at the hotel.
Yeah, it does. We have if you want to check out our hotel review video, we actually have a tripod in the lobby that looks almost exactly like that, other than it's metal, but it's like exactly like that. That's pretty neat.
That's a cool thing.
Second room is basically starting his animation career with the Laugh-O-Grams and stuff. And then there's an old movie camera too in the corner. I like the little drawings around the doors. They're kind of Monster Inc-esque. Now we got an elevator. Ooh, with a fancy curtain. Fancy. So the elevator looks like the train that he headed out west on.
Yeah.
That's cool. Neat little. It's just a wall. These are neat. They're kind of like runaway railroad posters. They're digital posters. Or Rock and Roller Coaster too has some same things. Alice fishing, Alice at sea. Check out these, I guess, slightly upgraded older cameras. Look at that, they got film in them. That sit on like the top that they take off. Fascinating. Next room you kind of come to, well, next room you come to when you get off the elevator is the Hollywoodland tour room, which has some of his early projects, mostly live action that he slowly turned more into animation. This is an interesting line by Walt. When he's looking at cartoons, he felt that he was too late. He should have been in the business 6 years before. Never give up, yo. Never give up. This is a little about the Walt Disney Studios. Check out a handwritten letter by Walt. It's crazy to think this is how many like cells they needed to do a scene in Steamboat Willie. And like this whole wall, I thought, what's this? But you kind of look like at the smaller scene. It's like this is him just grabbing the fork. It's like boop, boop, boop. You gotta go like inch by inch by inch to get the whole picture. And the one thing I like too is that they have these like animated ones in the middle that actually show the scene. So there he is with the. This is kind of the second one, getting into Oswald and some of the early. Nice, he's making some sounds. You're supposed to be synchronizing them to the animation style. That's kind of cool. You can actually match the effects to good old Steamboat Willie. That one's easy. The other ones don't seem to work though. Yeah, we're trying to figure it out, yeah. We're not doing very well. Steamboat Willie would sound significantly different if we were in charge of the audio. We've been to a lot of museums. This is a fascinating way to do their audio. It's like a old phone microphone that you're listening to. They have the Oswald exhibit. In case you didn't know, this is one of Walt's early mistakes, giving away the rights to Oswald, which forced him, and I guess a good thing too, forced him to make Mickey, which is very similar to Oswald if you look at how he's drawn. Yeah, kind of interesting. Check out the first Mickeys.
Looks more like Mortimer.
You can see him developing. There's Mickey and Oswald. One of the first drawings of Mickey Mouse. I'd say it's the earliest known drawing of him. Look at that nose, how it's like long. It's kind of like that newer version of Mickey with the long nose and stuff. What do you think about the first drawing of Mickey?
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see a piece of history.
So in case you didn't know, the first Mickey Mouse cartoons was Plain Crazy and the Galopin' Gaucho. Going toe to toe. Have some original Plain Crazy drawings too. That's really cool. Check out these classic designed movie posters. That's pretty cool. I like that. Look at Mickey on the top of that car up there. That's a Mickey for you. Some of these plushies for Mickey are a little scary. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, a little scary. But they have a lot of cool stuff here, like alarm clocks, watches, toothbrushes. Right. Some more Mickey statues. Going into the next room, we step into the Silly Symphony. Some more animation stuff. So this quote talks about Mickey sort of pigeonholing Walt. So he did the Silly Symphonies to try to create like a separate space to do different characters and stuff, but he wanted to continue animation work. Kind of interesting how he felt so shoot into Mickey so quickly. I like how they call them the practical pigs instead of the three little pigs.
She's so damn practical.
Walmart mer babies over there. That's interesting. Some drawings for you. So this talks about Pat Powers, who was an early animator on some of the early stuff and did some music and things like that on them, and about this organization called iWorks trying to poach him, and they, I guess, successfully did because they thought he was the brains and everything of the operation. So it kind of makes sense. I've watched later documentaries about Disney and how he was always hurt when people left his organization.
Yeah. A lot of people left him.
And this, I think, sort of sparked that. Those are some interesting pieces. It's how the multiplane camera sort of works. Put them on top of each other. You can definitely tell with this picture they're trying to get some depth out of it. And this on the back, you can see that the actual tower piece, if I can get the lights out of it.
And then up here they kind of detail how they want the scene to go.
Yeah. So up here they detail how they want the scene to go. They call them the three little pigs here, but they didn't keep that when they went to publish. They're blowing down the house. It's cute. And they have to draw the pigs in all different type of situations. Here's some actual action figures. Models.
The tortoise and the hare down here.
And then you got some tortoise in the hare shots here. All these old nursery rhymes that they adapted. And now today, if you try to adapt one of Disney's nursery rhymes, they'd sue the bejeebus out of you. This is a Disney studio artist's representation of him that he had on his desk, and then that's what he ended up creating. That's really cool. And look at the birds. That's really cool. Ferdinand.
Yeah, this is so much smoother.
I remember reading reprints of these as a kid. The Disney comics. Yeah, Madam Mim and the folks from Duckburg. The big boys. It always fascinates me how much color they'd have to have. They have Donald's color. Different greens. Fascinating, right? Poppy, tulips. And you have to keep them fairly documented too with all the people that would have their hands in the project to make sure all the colors match. But I like the Donald set. That's neat. Check out the brave little tailor. Brave little tailor, not sailor. This is one of my favorites that I've seen tons of times. Pluto. Pluto's first appearance was the Chain Gang in 1930. And then he evolved into Mickey's faithful pal. I love the Pluto. And then Goofy, Donald. So Goofy developed from a character called Dippy the Dog in 1940s. And he changed further in a series of sports cartoons. Then we go into this next section, the Grimm Fairy Tales. And sort of talks more about him becoming a storyteller in longer form. Here's a little duplicates of all the seven dwarfs.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was my grandmother's favorite.
Is your grandmother's favorite?
Yeah.
Oh.
She collected all things Seven Dwarfs.
Look at these drawings. That's awesome. It's kind of glary because of the plastic over top of it. But, well, plastic that it is, I should say. That's really cool. So these displays are pretty cool. They show like some of the drawings that make them up, and then they actually show the cell too in there. So you can kind of get an idea how they got from start to finish and the coloring and stuff like that. Look at that. They have like numbers for the coloring and stuff. Really cool.
So cool.
Then they move into like a merchandising thing. Snow White and the cutout dolls and dresses. Fancy. Got some books. Got some porcelain figures. That's probably something her grandmother would have enjoyed. She might have had something like that? Yeah. And some dolls. Wow, that doll's eyes have seen better days. She's looking right into your soul. Coloring books, paint book, mask. That's cute. Here's a map of Hyperion Studios.
This is what is Walt's Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. He's got Paramount over there, Hollywoodland, Universal, the Brown Derby, Polo Grounds. That's really cool. So we're sitting over here and looking over some of the kind of like 1930s stuff. So they moved from Hyperion to Burbank, and we actually drove past the Burbank studios in another video.
We sure have a few times actually.
Yeah, it's pretty close to the other side of the mountain for the Hollywood sign if you're looking for it. But you can see that in the show notes below. So what do you think so far?
It's been cool. It's very quiet. It's actually quite busy too for a Thursday.
Yeah, I got a tour group going through, so we're just hanging out for a little bit to try to let them pass. All right, next room. We took a pause because there's a student group in front of us. We let them go, but here's the next area. I think it's about Disney Studio. This is one of the neatest parts of the museum so far. Some of the concept arts and stuff. This is Bambi related stuff. Look at these drawings. Look how beautiful they are. And that deer. Some Pinocchio pieces. Pinocchio. Look at that one. That's really nice. Jiminy Cricket. This is the actual character model that they used for Jiminy Cricket in the studio. That is so cool. Look at that. That's pretty neat too. It's an animated cell they made of him. And that's the way to do a story. Story first, and then everything comes out of the story. So you figure out your story before you figure out all the other pieces to it. That is the way to develop. Got this one looking at Fantasia. Some of the artwork. Look at this. This center one is really fantastic. Look at that. What drawing ability. So this is an interesting find. The Sorcerer's Princess was originally supposed to be its own piece, basically highlighting Mickey's history and just be a short, and also introducing you to the new drawing style of Mickey. But it ended up turning into Fantasia because they had so many different segments they wanted to do. And of course Walt said Sorcerer Mickey was his favorite segment.
Mine too.
Kind of makes sense why he's all over the parks then if it was his favorite, right?
Right?
Nacy and me were just talking off camera. I always find it interesting how they say, like, cartoons are just for kids. But you look at this scene right here. This was not drawn for children, you know?
Right.
It was drawn for adults. So, and, you know, even the models of
The centaurs.
right? You enjoying it?
Yeah, I like it a lot.
So this is one of the coolest pieces of history. This is the Multiplane camera. That's the gift store downstairs. But that's how tall it was. Look how high up it is. They put them on different levels. And then they shine through it to create the scenes that they're doing. And you can see down there the different layers that are going on. I mean, this is a piece of history. I think there's only like 2 or 3 left in existence. So this next section we're moving into, we came from over there. Now over here, this is about the wartime, as well as him dealing with a strike that lasted 3 months. All of his artists went on strike. This is interesting. So even when it became like a peaceful deal, they still called the other guy a racketeer and a panderer, the guy who was going off against Disney. I guess Disney didn't take it too hard.
No. Oh, they did okay.
Oh, it definitely hit him. Otherwise, he wouldn't have created this ad right here. So this is funny. So the previous one made it seem like Disney was settling. But in this one, that's not the case. Basically, he was required to by a federal mediator. So basically, most of the stuff that the people were striking on must have been truthful. Because if you know anything about the federal government, they rarely side with... Right, they really get involved, but they rarely side with unions. So it's fascinating that they basically had a ton of stuff they had to give in on. But this section is making it look like, he was going to do it. He was just a genius. And interesting. It's always interesting. Interesting. This letter talking about the strike is from the vice president at the time. And he talks about how they were ordered to do them. But, they were in the plans for a long time. So, they were going to do them anyways. But they were forced to do them by the government. And then this one talks about how Disney didn't want to reopen because of government interference. And interesting, it definitely gives you a different view of Disney in his own museum. Seems like some similar history we're seeing all the time. Apparently he blamed it on a communist group trying to take over his artist. That's why he had to give in to these demands. But that is a fantastic picture of Walt. I don't know. It's an interesting hat he's got on, too. This is the Latin America section. Talking about how his influence got over to Latin America.
He's in Uruguay.
Uruguay. Pieces of Dumbo artwork. Got the crow. Oh, got the little mouse with the leaf. Now I got a studio model of Dumbo. So there's this cover here, there's a time, and then there's this cover. What were you saying, Nisa?
So Dumbo was supposed to be on the December 8th issue of Time magazine. However, on December 7th, the day before it was supposed to come out, Pearl Harbor happened, so it got scratched.
Fascinating coincidence. Next, they have some of the artwork of them getting involved in the war. Kind of how they did some propaganda for the U.S. government. Check this one out. That bird. That's fascinating. Check out this wonderful thing. Don't be a job hopper. Stick to your job, y'all. Furrer's face. And they have like a whole wall. There's Pluto in the military. I've seen that cartoon a few times. So this back area is definitely about sort of that piece of propaganda during World War II. Books, movies, artwork. Really cool. And you got some art over here. Of course, Dumbo came out around that time too, right before World War II really came in to the United States. We're moving from the war stuff, the war years, into this room with Peter Pan and stuff. So it talks about after the war, there wasn't much money because they had closed down the markets and they'd also basically shuttered most of their stuff. So this is kind of them reawakening after World War II. Oh, they got the Song of the South. If you've never watched that, they actually have it on the National Archives. And of course, Alice in Wonderland. We actually went to a restaurant called Peggy Sue's that had an original Song of the South, not in Spanish, poster. So definitely check out that video in the show notes, but it's fascinating seeing an original Song of the South poster. Check out this animation of Mr. Toad.
The Wind and the Willows.
The Wind and the Willows.
Also,
Even
The
has-
Adventures of the Bob Queen.
Yeah. 3 Caballeros. Fun and fancy free. Make mine music. Check out some early drawings. Mr. Toad. Then they got the characters. model figures. So those are the model figures that were literally sitting on their desk while they're drawing these characters. That is so cool. So this is from an exhibition that they used this Nautilus concept model. So this is the Mitchell Underwater Camera 1048, which was used to help with the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. That's fascinating.
I liked 20,000 Leagues when I was a kid.
You like 20,000 Leagues? Good movie.
I mean, I don't remember a whole lot about it, but I remember I watched it.
They got some more Disney studio artist stuff. Look at Shmi from Peter Pan. And then we got all the Siamese cats from Lady and the Tramp. Look at that. That is really cool. You can kind of tell there's different layers on it to give it like a 3D look. Really cool. Yeah, I did like live action, almost like Ringo. Here's an Alice in Wonderland. Gus Gus. Back over here with some Uncle Remus stuff. So dear to my heart. It is interesting to see this, the romantic adventure of the year. Robin Hood. Robin Hood. If you are not aware, Disney liked miniatures, and they say they have like over 2,000 miniatures from him. A lot of it's still in storage in the back. But look at some of these, like look at the magazines. That's really cool. The parakeet with a mouse. Or no, it's a cat, I'm sorry. The silverware, the knives and forks. Really cool. Horse saddle, boots. There's a dog playing checkers. A couple more old cameras. This is a 16 millimeter Kodak Scene Special with telephoto lens, which is this one with the telephoto. And that one is another Kodak Special. So after we head out of the miniature room, you get a little hallway of glass. Look at that view of the bridge. We went over that 4 times yesterday, so definitely check that video out in the show notes below. What'd you think of it yesterday?
Oh, yesterday was so much fun, honestly. Like, there's one thing you do. You gotta drive over the bridge, and if you can get in a convertible, do that.
At the end of this hallway is where you find the famous bench. Now, this is supposedly one of the benches that Walt sat on while his children were on the carousel in Griffin Park. And he came up with the idea for Disneyland. So this is one of like the 2 remaining benches, I believe. So Nasa just said we're sitting where Walt once sat, but we're also sitting where Random Land apparently had their first kiss. Should we recreate that too?
Maybe?
So in case you're wondering, in this hallway is the True Life Adventures. That's what they're showing you here. And then over here is the Zorro Silver Saddle. Interesting. So apparently this is a saddle that Walt Disney won in a raffle for $2. It was used on the Zorro horse Tornado for close-ups, but it's too heavy of a saddle for every scene, so this is just the close-up saddle. Fascinating how he reused that. One last look at that famous bench where Walt once sat. The next section has the miniature Disneyland park, which we'll check out in a second. And his mini train. So if you didn't know, Walt was a big train enthusiast. That's why there's railroads at both of the parks. But he actually had a mini train, this is it, that ran around his backyard, which is so weird and so cool at the same time. And there's a model of his property where it would have been running around. Nasa just said,
I think like he just sat right there, but also I feel like other people would just sit
yeah,
on the back of it too.
you can see the little seats throughout where people could sit. The Lily Bell. Combining his love of miniatures and trains, he actually did like a miniature sets inside the one, like the caboose right here, which is right back there.
Yeah.
Has like a whole interior into it.
That's so cool.
Right? It's about the little details. I think that's one of the reasons why Disneyland works so well. It was about those little details that he added to little things.
Yeah.
You know, like the rivers of poop in Disney World, the little like details of the barber shops and stuff. That's what makes it different. This is pretty interesting. I wonder if you can still pull the permits at the Anaheim permit area. Yeah, you get like printed as the recreations, but that's what the original map was supposed to be. Now, if you've been in construction, you know that those things change pretty regularly, but that's pretty neat that that was the first proposed look at it. And here's another one, courtesy of Walt Disney Entertainment, a little more 3D.
Approximately 45 acres within the railroad tracks.
Fancy.
Designed by WED Enterprises.
Which WED is?
It's the Walt
Imagineering.
WED stands for like Walt Engineering something.
So now what is it again, Nancy?
It stands for Walter Elias Disney.
There we go. Walt with Ed Sullivan. Check out this model, original model of the Fantasyland Castle, designed for Walt Disney by Marvin Davis.
That's cool.
It almost looks like it's in gold. I imagine it's gold spray paint, but it's still really freaking cool. There's the first circle camera too. They asked them to develop it while they were actually in the works of building Disneyland so that they could film the whole thing. So this is the original.
People movers. The monorail.
Yeah. Teacups. Adventureland, Fantasyland, Frontierland. Look at that Pirates ride. I love the Hitchhiking Ghost by the. I love the Hitchhiking Ghost by the Haunted Mansion right there.
And now, way back there is where Star Wars is.
Yeah, that's really cool. The people mover little buggies are in there, like you said. It's fascinating that it's like moving and static.
It's so cool.
Autopia. Really, really neat. The boat. It's interesting that he shows the orange trees on the outside.
Something cruise.
Yeah. The castle in the middle lit up with fireworks. That's pretty cool. The model actually goes from like day to night too, so it lights up. You can see the lights lighting up over there. Oh, you can see the fireworks at the Pirates. The ghost. Look at all the little details. This is so awesome. Got the little house that's on fire. Tom Sawyer Island.
Some great moments in Mr. Lincoln's life. It's a great occasion for all of us.
Look at that. So again, like what I was talking about, there's the railroad, the train. There's the main alleyway with the buildings. Yeah, there's the Mark Twain Omni Mover.
Which they've used in a bunch of different rides.
Yeah, check that one out. Autotopia car. Main road that you walk in Disneyland with. It's really cool. And again, it is really neat. Oh, there's Mr. Lincoln over there. But it's really kind of neat how it goes from day to night. See? It's going to nighttime. Pretty freaking sweet. And again, Pirates of the Caribbean. Got the little action over there too. Oh, that's cool. Nacy just spotted this, the dinosaur scene from the train. That's really neat. It's kind of hard to get from this angle, but
It's there.
yeah, it's a Mouseketeer display. Look at this, some of this stuff. Look at the print, I was gonna say printer, the typewriter. That's pretty cute. Viking helmet. Jiminy Cricket. And they used to have a magazine, the Mickey Mouse Club. Check out the Disneyland tickets. This display. Main Street. Wow. So after you get past that room, you get to a room with some Mary Poppins drawings. Check those out. That's pretty cool. Go into this little circle area, you come to the original Mr. Lincoln animatronic. Look at that. That's super cool. Original shot from the Carousel of Progress. This is a scene that they regularly update, by the way, because it's supposed to be the future. This is cool. Look at that. That's the original. From the General Electric Carousel of Progress at the 63 World Fair. Look at even the outside's like snow because it's Christmas time. Then we head into this other area. Sort of get into the Florida projects, and there's more, well, closer to death projects, I guess. Look at that old camera. That's cool. Look at the size difference, by the way. If you think about that first camera we looked at, that was the little box. Think about how big this one is. Here's some cool things. A pair of glasses. Walt's valet box. It's on his dresser with like his watch and stuff. There's this bronze hat, so his wife didn't like his hat, but he got one bronzed in the shape of a heart for her. Travel bag, camera, cigars, which he hid from the camera. He didn't like to smoke in front of the camera. And then Nacy pointed out the 1,000 Mile Club for United. Babe used to put your name on it. Are you?
Cool. We don't play United, but
You hoping to get the 100,000 Mile Club someday?
yeah.
This is pretty interesting. It's from the National Association of Theater Ownership, and they classified him as the world's first showman. And they claim that he might be the only one. After you get out of that room, you come to the more sadder room. This is basically the wall of art that was made for him after his death when he passed away with cancer. There's some of the artwork for him. Some of these classic images. You got the Disney crew, you got Walt in the world, the cornucopia, that's his legacy, Donald. Kind of the next room you get to, overview of his life again. I think if I had a house, I'd want to do a wall of TVs just for me.
That's what you want to do, baby?
And check out that side too. So you just kind of sit here and remember his life and the influences he had.
So many.
Yeah, so many. Once you get to the bottom, there is the multiplane camera. Apparently you can do 5 different levels of planes, but that's how big it is. Look at that in comparison. Look at that. So they have a nice little calf right by the exit gift shop. They got a tea and a water because we still have to go to the dog and cat exhibit, and Nacy is texting. So what you thinking so far?
I thought it was really well done, honestly, and it just kind of goes through the entire history of Walt Disney from like inception and some of the first business workings he did to his final days, which always a little sad, but it's kind of nice that we got a little slice of Disney out here in San Francisco.
Get another shot of that camera. You can see there's basically the forest, and there's the birds flying. And there's the next thing. I'm not 100% sure what it is. But there's the camera. This is so massive, and again, they can go up to 5 planes. So this is only 3. If you ever wondered about the actual dimensions of everything, look at them. They have the entire figures about how to put one together. It's built in 1937. And this one was used during the 1930s and 1940s at Walt Disney Studio. This is a 1934 Mickey and Minnie Lionel handcar. That's really cool. Yeah, they look demonic, for sure. Here's the front porch in case you just want to come and have a relax and sit outside the Walt Disney Museum. If you head around back, you'll see the dogs and cats. Building 122, this is their special exhibition. Starting our tour of the dogs and cat exhibit. This is more of a traditional art museum exhibit to me. Oh, look at the puppy. Look at the puppy. It's a roly hound. Something interesting for this exhibit. There's nothing on the walls. It's all over in this corner. They have like a whole read-through of the different displays. Check out the inspiration for Donald. He looks happy. Makes sense that he was Donald. And Bolt. I do enjoy the Bolt movie. Always found it interesting with Disney animation, they always have like live action animals that inspire the drawings.
Pongo and Perdita.
Pluto was first seen in the Chain Gang in 1930 as a police dog. But then in the same year, 1930, they did the picnic with Mickey and Minnie, and that's the first time they actually said that he was his house dog. So love me some Pluto. Just think about all the animals that have been in Disney animation. And this is just a small subsample of them. And for Macy's favorite movie.
Sugar corn.
New question, what happened to Fifi? That's Minnie's dog. 1933 Puppy Love. That's Pluto's love interest. I haven't seen Fifi forever.
We did get it on a postcard though, so if you want a postcard.
Yeah. Some hand drawings of Pluto and Mickey. That's pretty cool. They have scene notes. So, like, he was brushing him off, but he shouldn't be brushing. He should be, instead of combing, he should be brushing. So they changed the scene. Interesting, right? So in 1934, they did the famous flypaper sequence, which is Pluto basically sitting on a piece of flypaper, and it gets exponentially worse as it goes until he's spinning around crazy. Oh, there's the actual section of it. Here's some more really good photos of the Pugnac. Some Lady and the Tramp scenes. There's Lady right there. There's Tramp. Over here's their first meeting, which is neat. And then on the other wall, there's the famous spaghetti scene. Look at that, that's so cool. You don't have to go to this Disney nights, just pay to go to this exhibit. You can recreate the picture here. Mm-hmm. Some breadsticks. Spaghetti and meatballs. Take one, do not return. We're at the table.
We did that for you.
We did it for you. Yeah, see, there's the table. Apparently we don't return these just in case you're I'm sure someone did though. There's a cute scene where they're watching the TV and the little guy in the front's so fascinated by the television. I actually just rewatched this recently. Here's a classic picture of them at the end, all back together with their new group. Some aristocrat stuff. This is my mom's favorite movie, I guess, from back in the day. It's interesting that it started in 7 years prior to him passing in 66. That means they started in 59. It didn't come out till 70. That's how long production times used to be on these animated films. Can you imagine today? They go over a year. They basically scrap the project. You have these beautiful city of Paris cityscapes. Those are cool. That's so cute. The bond between Bolt and Penny. Poor Bolt and his complex thinking he's a real superhero. Check out these old school movie posters. Oliver and Company, Little Mermaid, Pocahontas. And then spin around this side, you got some older ones. Peter Pan, Alice in Wonderland, Cinderella. I got some Pluto posters. Rescue Dog, C for Feeding, Bone Trouble, The Simple Things. This is kind of interesting. So in 1946, they did Bath Day, which depicts Figaro, which is the cat from Pinocchio, as Minnie Mouse's pet. Interesting. So that's how popular Figaro was. This is the upstairs. You got some Max from Little Mermaid. You got Percy from Pocahontas. Machi That's from Big Hero 6. Nana, Cheshire Cat, Lucifer, and then a little Figaro. Shots of Figaro from Cinderella. Look how chubby he looks in these 5 pictures. Like I was saying, look how chubby he looks in these 5 pictures. Look at some of these renderings. Look at that's pretty cool. At first, like Cheshire Cat peak. That's what they're thinking of making him look like. I love the animation cells. Look at that. That is so cool. There's Mochi. With Baymax, Hero. His aunt. Footstool. What Footstool looked like as an actual footstool, and then what he looked like as a dog. That's cute. From Beauty and the Beast. It's kind of an interesting looking footstool. They would have went with that design. One of Macy's favorites.
Max.
He found her.
Well, he's the only one that realizes who Ariel really is, and he tries to warn them about Ursula. Nobody listens to him.
Yeah.
Smart guy.
All right, we just finished up the Walt Disney Family Museum. We did the cats and dogs exhibit too. What'd you think?
I thought it was really neat, kind of like doing a deep dive into Disney history, but then also like the second feature was interesting too because it just kind of showcased all the different sidekick animals, essentially. Even some of the main characters, like in 101 Dalmatians, but a lot of them were sidekicks, essentially, that were animal friends.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. The original museum, depending on what you want to look at, do you want to look at the history of animation? Do you want to look at the history of Walt Disney? It's got a bunch of different pieces in there that you can explore. The second exhibit was just a room, and it had about 6 or 8 pieces. It was nice, but it's not really labeled. It's all in like one sheet in a corner, so you have to kind of go and find out what everything is.
Yeah.
That's a little difficult
yeah.
to like navigate, but it was worth it. It was so worth it, especially just if you want to go to the museum and learn about Disney or about animation.
Yeah, so it's $30 a person, including the extra exhibit. So it's not like the most expensive thing to do. So I like that part of it.
And you do get great views of the Golden Gate Bridge, which you can kind of see over our back shoulder.
Yeah.
So if you like this video, hit that thumbs up.
Make sure you hit that subscribe button.
And ring that notification bell so you get notified we do at least 3 videos a week.
And we'll come and get you guys for the next one.
Ain't that the truth? Baby Ruth.
Bye,
Bye everybody.
everybody.